That is why today we have presented you a pool of economic inclusion, targeted efforts, and an inclusive society. It would be foolish not to dive in. Thank you. Kerry Amani from Nova Pioneer, and my time starts in 3, 2, 1. Affirmative action funds are like an eggshell for a chick. When an egg is young, when a chick is young, what happens? There's a shell that's formed around it. Why? Because it can't stand on its own feet. But what happens when the egg hatches? When it can finally stand on its own feet, it breaks free. And that is what Affirmative Action Funds strives to do. It strives to get these people off their feet and help them break free. Not to rely on these funds forever, but to use them as a start so that we can exacerbate an economically prosperous society. So when they came here and told us that we are making these companies rely on the affirmative action funds, I beg to differ, because we gave you countless statistics telling you how these people were able to benefit from these funds and even later on build on businesses. We told you 500,000 beneficiaries from the Uwezo Fund. Now, I'd like to pose a question that that has been said by my previous speakers, but they seem to fail to answer, is where will these youth entrepreneurs get the initial capital to start their businesses? Where? Because if these people, the youth entrepreneurs, these are people who do not have the financial security, we are trying to help them. Where will they even start from? Because we're not trying to help that one youth who has a large amount of capital. No, he doesn't need our help. The person who needs help is that one entrepreneur who only has an idea but does not have the resources to capitalize this idea. Where will they get these resources? I hope they'll answer that question. But we came and told you that in our side of the motion, we target the vulnerable. We target the people who actually need these affirmative action funds. We tell you that for us to become an economically prosperous society, we have to address both sides, the rich and the poor. And today, the poor are the people who need these solutions. We gave you countless examples like the Uwezo Fund. Again, I have to stress this because it seems they do not understand. 500,000 people. That is not even the amount of people in this room, but look how many we are. Now imagine 500,000 people. Now imagine how much more or how many more people could benefit from these societies if we focused on this policy. And we came and gave you that we would have a criteria. So it's not simply just giving out funds to random people. We're giving out funds to people who will actually make a change. Because we're only giving out funds to people who will be viable for the people who are in need and also have ideas. Therefore, we know these funds are going to the right place. They're not going to any Tom, Dick, and Harry. We gave you a track record of affirmative action funds. We came and showed you funds such as the YDF and the Uwezo Fund, how they have impacted Kenyan youth and how much more they could do if our policy was adopted. But what have they done on their side? They come here and made assertions that tax breaks would somehow bring benefits to the small businesses. But we see the people who will actually benefit from this are people who already have established businesses. These are not the vulnerable people. Because how will a vulnerable youth who does not even know what a credit card is be able to capitalize from the tax incentives? Someone who doesn't know how to file their own taxes. This is the vulnerable youth we are talking about. That is why today we have presented you a pool of economic inclusion, targeted efforts, and an inclusive society. It would be foolish not to dive in. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this heated debate. A round of applause for our judges. And also a round of applause to both teams on stage. And I'm also eager to know the judges' comments. So judges, hit us up.
Thank you. That was a good debate. St. Hannah and Nova Tat Boys.
That was a good debate. We saw that both teams mastered the topic well. So all the best.